Where did you get your ideas from? From working in a mortuary when you were 15?
Adolf Hitler.
He couldn't play guitar, he couldn't write music, and when he opened his mouth to sing, most people laughed.
I fucked up.
When you entered this competition, did you really believe that you could become what you're standing on now, the American Idol? You are the worst singer in America.
It's the first time I think I've heard someone sing that never stayed on any melody, so to speak.
But somehow, this same man became the father of heavy metal.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Are you ready?
This is the story of Ozzy Osbourne, a poor kid from Birmingham who was told he'd never make it, only to build an empire of sound, chaos, and fame that redefined rock forever.
The greatest to ever lace him up in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the one, the only, Ozzy Osbourne!
Thank you.
So how did the worst singer in school become a legend? Let's go back to where it all began.
What kind of a kid were you?
Well, I wanted to be a brain surgeon originally.
Ozzy Osbourne was born John Michael Osbourne on December 3rd, 1948 in Aston, Birmingham, an industrial neighborhood choked with smoke, poverty, and noise.
You're weird. Were you poor, or is that just... Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We had nothing. We had hand to mouth. Like, best up, first up, best fed, you know.
He grew up in a small house with 5 siblings, 1 bathroom, and a father who worked nights at the factory. Money was tight. Meals were simple, but the thing that never left was the sound. Hammers, drills, clanging metal.
At his old school, the pupils don't know who he is. It's the staff who want the autographs from a 47-year-old survivor.
It's very kind of you.
You actually worked, you had some odd occupations as a younger
Oh, yeah,
person.
my first musical job was working in a car horn factory.
Well, yeah.
But there was
good.
one thing that cut through all the noise, the Beatles. When Ozzy first heard She Loves You on the radio, something inside him changed. He later said, "That was it for me. I knew I wanted to be a musician." The Beatles made him believe that maybe, just maybe, a poor kid from Birmingham could do something more than just survive. So he scraped together enough money to buy a microphone and a small PA system. He put up a sign in a music shop window. A few days later, someone answered that ad, a guitarist named Tony Iommi, and that's when everything began.
When did the love of music come into your life?
The Beatles.
The Beatles.
Beatles are genius. One of the greatest moments of my life was when I met Paul McCartney.
Was you the bass line? Oh, God, no, you're not let him in. Oh, bloody hell. Hello, darling. How you doing? All right, lovely, yeah. Great.
It's great to meet you, man. It's been a lifetime of ambition of mine. You guys made me start music, you know.
Yeah. After the burglary.
Yeah.
After the burglary. I love that story, man, with the gloves with no fingers.
Yeah, that's typical me, that is. And then one day I was walking down this road and I heard the Beatles for the first time, and it was like, wow. When I heard She Loves You, and so a light went up in my head and I was just besotted with them. I basically fantasised, like, wouldn't it be great if Paul McCartney was to marry my sister and John Lennon married my mum?
John Lennon married your mum.
All these, kids do. And I remember singing, that's it, that's what I want to do.
But did you think you could do it?
No, I'm a band note, and I was like a Beatle fanatic at the time. I said, yeah, I'll have a go. Got myself a little PA system and a mic, and I went trotting up. The Beatles, for me, had one of the biggest influences. Because of their melodies, they always had great melodies. I discovered the Beatles, and I thought, that's it, I'll become one of the Beatles. I wanted to be a Beatle. I never made it, though. and that's sort of kind of gave me the charge to want to be in rock and music, you know. It was just fucking magic that time. It was...
You first heard them on the radio?
I was walking down the road. I saw an empty guitar case. My imaginary band was the Black Panthers, and I painted it with some fucking cream.
So you walked around with an empty guitar case? Yeah. That's genius.
What music do you listen to right now?
I listen to all of them. I still listen to the Beatles a lot. Rediscovered the White Album again. Great album, that is. It's
great record.
Did on this
Well,
album.
you know, the Beatles used to put the bass on the last thing they used to put on was the bass.
That was the last thing they track.
Yeah, they tracked the bass.
I didn't know that.
McCartney would put a guide on, then when he was all done, he'd stick it, because he was the most melodic bass player ever. He's great. You listen to some of his playing, it's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely mind-blowing.
The band that changed the world. At first, they called themselves Earth. They were just another blues band playing local clubs, covering songs by Cream and Hendrix. But then, something strange happened. One day, they noticed a cinema across the street showing horror films, and people were lining up to watch them. Ozzy looked out the window and said, "Isn't it weird that people pay money to get scared?" That line changed music history. Tony Iommi suggested they write songs that sounded like horror movies, dark, eerie, powerful.
Purely because the rehearsal place where we were rehearsing was across the road from a movie house. And we just looked at a line of people waiting to go in to see this horror movie. And we thought, isn't it funny that people pay money to get the pants scared off them? And we just thought, why don't we try and do that, put that kind of a theme to music? And it just developed from there, really.
They renamed the band Black Sabbath after a 1963 Boris Karloff horror film. And when the world heard their first song, that haunting tritone riff...
Ozzy brought this book around for me, and it's like this really old 15th century, like, old book. And it was all written in Latin. It was all about black magic. It had all these, like, drawings of Satan and everything in it. And I just had a really weird feeling about it. And that same night, I woke up in the middle of this horrible nightmare, and I just saw this like black shape at the bottom of my bed, just like staring at me. It was like a black, malevolent thing. It's a horrible feeling of it, and I just totally freaked out. And I told Ozzy about it, and he came up with the lyrics to Black Sabbath.
Their self-titled, he summoned them. By 1973, Black Sabbath had become gods of a new sound. They'd sold millions of records. They were rich, young, and unstoppable. But behind the fame, the darkness was already spreading. Success came with a price, and for Ozzy, it came in bottles, pills, and powders.
Well, what do you do to relax?
Smoke marijuana.
You were joking when you said that, of course.
Yeah, right.
And for Ozzy, it came in bottles, pills, and powders.
Black Sabbath, we all ended up junkies and alcoholics and everything. Like the drummer ended up in a rehabilitation center. I did for a while, and in the end, disaster happens. It's inevitable to happen, disaster, because it's like drugs. They were okay at the time, but we outgrew them, you know. We just, you know, we took LSD, we took cocaine, we took vast amounts of marijuana. It was fun at the time, but then we all just sort of. So it's not a very good idea anymore.
So you have a more stable life now?
He'd always struggled with insecurity. Fame made it worse. He said, "When I was on stage, I felt invincible. When I came off, I felt like nothing." By 1978, the band was falling apart. Fights over songwriting, fights over money, and Ozzy's addictions, growing worse by the day. During the recording of Never Say Die, Tony Iommi finally had enough. Ozzy was fired from Black Sabbath in 19...
I went to pick Ozzy up from the house after he'd got fired from Black Sabbath and brought him back to the office and, you know, said to him, just don't worry, we're here for you. I think he honestly thought that we were and he'd be sent home.
It was a very sad period. I remember leaving and I locked myself in a hotel room for 3 months, just getting smashed out of my brains every day, you know. You only know what you've missed when it's gone. You know, it's like the breakup that we had was just like a divorce. I mean, I said loads of bad things about those guys, and they said loads of bad things about me.
For about a week, and I went to see him. He just drank and, you know, ordered pizzas all day and watched TV and never left the room. Feeling sorry for himself because he didn't believe in himself. And he was so down, and I said, what the are you doing? Open the window. Get in the shower, shave that off.
And she said, if you clean yourself up, I want to manage it. And I said, well, you want to manage me? You're crazy. I thought my career was in the pan, you know.
Everyone else gave up on him, she didn't. Sharon became his manager, his caretaker, and eventually his wife. She pushed him to start fresh.
Sharon Arden and her father were managing Black Sabbath, and when I got fired from Black Sabbath, I thought I was going to get the boot back to England. And to my astonishment, Sharon come round to my hotel and said that they'd got rid of Black Sabbath and they wanted to keep me on, and I was like flabbergasted. And then I fell in love.
In 1980, Ozzy stepped back into the studio. What came out was Blizzard of Oz. It wasn't just a comeback, it was a rebirth.
Now then we started to look for a band. I found Randy Rhoads, and I found Bob Daisley, who's Australian. And we started writing songs. We found Lee Kerslake and recorded the first two solo albums virtually simultaneously. And it just went off again. And to have success with Black Sabbath one time and then to go again on my own.
With guitarist Randy Rhoads, Ozzy created a new sound, combining classical melody with heavy metal power. Songs like Crazy Train, Mr. Crowley, and Goodbye to Romance became instant anthems.
A happy mode, shall we say? You go, well, see you later, guys. You know.
Since leaving Sabbath, my life has just bettered and bettered and bettered. You know, it's just gone from better to better.
The critics who once mocked him now called him the godfather of metal.
What is the difference, though, for you musically? What's the difference?
Free. I mean, Black Sabbath is like a prison sentence to me. I mean, Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman, and all they were ideas that I'd had, which I couldn't musically put across to Black Sabbath, because they wouldn't never give me the time of day to try and explain myself. Whereas Randy Rhoads came along and he was patient, and we spent hours and hours, and we worked.
He wasn't just back, he was bigger than ever. But tragedy would strike again. On March 19th, 1982, guitarist Randy Rhoads died in a plane crash while on tour. Ozzy was devastated. He said later, "When Randy died, a part of me died too. For weeks, he couldn't perform. He drank to forget. He screamed, cried, and nearly quit music forever. But Sharon wouldn't let him. She reminded him that Randy wouldn't have wanted his legacy to end that way. So Ozzy got back on stage. Every concert became a tribute. Every scream was grief turned into sound. Over the next 2 decades, Ozzy released a string of hits: Bark at the Moon, No More Tears, Mama, I'm Coming Home. Each one carried pieces of his story: pain, love, defiance, and survival. Ozzy had gone from being fired to being knighted by the genre he helped create. He was the Prince of Darkness, and the world loved him for it.